Hey, what's happening? This is TEF. I just jumped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastard.
Money on my mind. Every day I grind for a life I define. Move like ghosts. Float like smoke.
All right, so we got my boy TEF XL jumping off the porch with us today.
Yeah, what's happening, boss? I'm TEF. Pleasure to be here, man.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you coming by today too, man.
Dude, it's been a long time coming. Definitely excited to talk with you about, any and everything, especially Code Switch, the upcoming album. And of course, we're dropping a single, body of work, B.O.W, on October 14th. So definitely a pleasure to be here, boss.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So you got anything else planned while you're in Atlanta during this trip, or you really just get in and out?
I have family here in ATL, man.
Okay.
So anytime I get a chance to stop through, I try my best to connect with them. Also got a couple of DJs that I told them since I'm gonna be in town, I'll make sure I connect with them.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of networking to do in Atlanta.
Oh, absolutely.
You gotta know that.
Yeah, definitely. It's the Hollywood of the South, you know what I mean? So definitely trying to connect with as many people as I can.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and you're from Jacksonville, right?
I am. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida. Currently I live in Charlotte and also in San Diego, so I'm bi-coastal.
Oh, wow. You all over the place.
I am,
okay.
man. My, I see a lot of people pushing now, making sure you got, we're in a generation of multiple hustles,
yeah.
Right? And so my whole life has been about same hustle, different grind. No matter what you're doing, you keep that hustle energy. So for me, what I do today is I'm an executive in the healthcare space. I sit on a couple of boards that support different initiatives that are close to my heart.
Okay.
And of course I do music, so.
Yeah, you got your hands full. You're always busy, aren't you?
I am, man, I am. And I feel like, time is short, so I'm gonna try to maximize as much as I can.
No, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the healthcare. How'd you get into that?
That's a windy road for me, man. I originally, like you said, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and the early part of my years were more so in the streets. I grew up as a street entrepreneur, selling drugs, and I had several encounters, close encounters with death. And thankful enough, friends and close family, they continue to whisper in my ear. And I think after I graduated from high school, I had a mentor that stepped into my life, and he was a family practice physician, and he just spent a lot of time with me talking about, there's always different ways that you can go into life. And mature into a man. And for me, I was always good at listening. I just, I felt like the best way to come up was getting my own money. And so after he came into my life, me and a business partner, we started a promotional company called Smooth Threat. We started bringing a lot of artists to Jacksonville, Florida. And as my eyes just started opening, and it was a different hustle, or it was the same hustle, but it was a different grind. It was a different way that I connected with people, and I was creating opportunities for people otherwise that were just in the streets. And so I did that for a couple of years, and I stacked up enough capital for myself, and I had always promised my mother and father that I would go to college. And so when the timing was right, I bowed out, and I took myself to Florida A&M University. Okay. And I got my doctorate in pharmacy.
Nice.
And then when I graduated from Florida A&M, I got on a mission to, for lack of a better term, to right a lot of the wrongs that I'd done in my life. And I felt the best way to do that is to provide services to people. I used to always tell people in the hospital setting, when you're at your worst, I need to be at my best as a pharmacist. And so my focus was really on providing services and caring for them and being their protector in the right choices of medications and partnering with physicians. So I did that pretty well, and the health systems embraced my approach to patient care. And before long, I was in these leadership roles. And then I found that in a leadership role, I could create more opportunities for others. And so I took on this journey of creating unique opportunities for people that were coming fresh out of school or were contemplating whether or not to go to college in the first place. So I became like a mentor, then a sponsor. And one thing led to the other, man. And, you know, I'm sitting in front of you today as, you know, a healthcare exec, as part of, you know, a Fortune 500 company.
Nice.
A plethora of experiences and opportunities I've created for others. I've done a lot of mentoring and sponsoring for a lot of people, and changed a lot of lives. And so, but one thing for sure that's been on the journey with me is, like I mentioned, coming from the streets, one of the things I learned early on is to document my journey through music as a poet.
Yeah.
And so, as I continued on that journey, I always stuck to my core, which was music and writing and being a avid participant in my craft. And so I'd say music has always stuck with me, and you know, finally I'm at a space where the music is speaking greater than my voice in the healthcare space, and it's time for me to talk to people.
Yeah. No, that's a really dope. That's an incredible story right there, man.
Yeah. So, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. I haven't shared it with a lot. Only a select few know, and so I feel like my music is the best way to share that with people.
Yeah. Was there like a turning point when you realized, all right, the streets isn't it, man? Like you said, you kind of had a couple near-death experiences. Was that kind of like the eye-opening, or?
I like to say it was, man. I'm not sure that it was the individual events. It was probably the accumulation of events, and me realizing that there is more that I can give in a different space in my life if I put my mind to anything. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the street life was, you know, I really stepped into it as a way, or as an outlet, you know, as a troubled youth. And I enjoyed being camaraderie with a lot of different people from different backgrounds. But then, you know, before long, you know, the friendships turn to frenemies. As you grow and you become more successful, like any other business, your circle gets smaller and smaller, the people that are really have your best interests in mind. And so, you know, a lot of lessons learned through the streets, and of course, you know, I speak about that in my music.
Yeah. And can you apply those lessons to what you're going through in life right now then?
Oh, absolutely. I'd say life lessons, you know, they carry forward with you. For me, one is, you know, and it's simple lessons, right? It's one, always be true to your word. You know, a man is made of his word and his balls, right? And so, you know, I plan on maintaining and keeping both. And I can say anybody that's been on a journey with TEF through my life can always, they'll stand up to him. I'm a very stand-up dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, just staying real, you know. And so there's no room for flogging or pretending to be something that I'm not, when I know I can be it anyway. So let me just be what I want to be in my life. And at this juncture in my life, it's about just, you know, resources, being able to enjoy the things in the life that I choose to help others the way I choose to. I'm a big advocate of, you know, racial equality and social justice. And I also have a place in my heart for helping those that are resource challenged, and of course I sit on some boards, and one of the boards is one of the largest in the nation. It's a food bank. Yeah. And so I'm really focused on, you know, eliminating hunger.
Okay, that's really dope right there, man.
Yeah.
Salute to you for that.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So you mentioned like mentoring the youth.
Yeah.
What's some of the best advice you do share with the youth, or is it kind of just by person by person?
You know, I think it's the latter. You know, to be a mentor. First off, I don't go out and solicit to be a mentor. It has to be someone that approaches me, and then it's not, you know, I guess I kind of take people to the ringer, because I need to know you're sincere, because I think mentoring, and you go from mentoring to sponsoring an individual, it's a big commitment if you're doing it right. And so mentorship for me is you immerse in the person, And really to immerse in a person, you got to know who you're immersing in. And are they sincere about the travel that they want to make or the journey that they're on? And can I identify with the role I need to play in that path that they're taking? So it's not it's not a casual exchange in a mentorship. It's really, we sit down, hey man, let's unpack who you are. Here's who I am. Let me give you an example of that. And I show up as my authentic self, and I want them to show up as their authentic self. And then we begin to really have a compelling conversation around where they are today and where they want to go, and what role can I play in that?
Yeah, no, that's well needed. A lot of the youth out there, they're so misguided, or they have very bad influences, whether it comes from the music or from the streets as well, too.
Yeah. I don't know where I sit on that when it comes to the influences of music. I do look at music as a form of artistic expression, and everyone has it. And so I would much rather have someone expressing their anger, their frustration through music than expressing it on people.
True. Or
in the community and creating these violent situations for the community. So I think, I sit in this dual space at times. Now, it's probably because I'm an artist too. And so I can appreciate the artistic form, but there's boundaries that you put around it. You know what I mean? And when I say boundaries is you need to be intentional in what you say and how you say things, because there's an impact that you're making on people. You've been blessed with this talent and this gift, and make sure that, what you put out to the world, recognize whatever you put out will come back.
Yeah, absolutely,
so I believe in karma.
Yeah.
But I didn't do this haphazard when it came to mentoring. I actually took a program with Kessler Mentoring, and got my certificate in mentorship and stuff like that. And of course on my journey as a professional, I've just sponsored a lot of people.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what are some of the messages you're putting into your music today?
So the album is called Code Switch. Code Switch is a trilogy, and I think the best way to break down Code Switch is everyone knows Code Switch from a language perspective. So when you're amongst certain people, you talk a certain way. When you're in a business environment, you talk another way. So I looked at, even myself, I had to get comfortable with, how do I bring my best self to every environment that I step into? And I had to learn the principles of code switching. And when I thought about it for a second, I'm the same person regardless of what environment I'm in. And so me changing my vernacular, me changing the way that I talk to people, that's all me. I used to, want to say the Southern slang and use slang words and stuff when I was amongst family and this group of people. And then when I'm in the business environment, I want to talk this way. And I said, you know what, man, that's too much work. and at the end of the day, I'm losing myself. And so I got comfortable in just being me.
Yeah.
And, to be honest with you, I think, my business world appreciated more of that from me, my uniqueness and what I bring to the table and the things that I see and the things that I can articulate to them and how to engage with the underserved or the youth. And I think the youth can appreciate that, my vernacular is something different, but at the same time, I can relate to what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So the album Code Switch is a culmination of my days in the streets, my choices I made to rise above the streets. It's about the dynamics of what it takes to be a hustler in the hustle. It's taking you through the journey of losing close friends to the streets. It takes you through a journey of relationships and losing those relationships because of choices you make. And then on the flip side of that, once you arrive at a certain phase in your life, it takes you on a journey of, what do I do next? What's my next? How do I continue to recreate myself and be the best version of myself? And I'm on my journey for altruism. And so since I'm on that journey of altruism as an integrated soul, I should be able to take people on that journey and they can see me realize my true north. And so Code Switch is all of that in a nutshell.
Okay. Was it very therapeutic recording this album?
You know, I think I stepped into it when during COVID, like many, we started seeing some of the social injustices that were happening, and when I stepped into it, I was with my homie Wax and my producer Marco Solo. Shout out to Marco Solo. Shout out to Wax and Mac Tracks, and we were watching the George Floyd situation, and we had just recorded a song called Injustice. And we sat back and we said, if there's ever a time to put out a message around the wrongs that people experience in their lives and the wrongs that TEF had experienced in his lives, we should do that now. And so we released this record called Injustice. We did an animated video because everything was closed down. 351 Studios did the video, did a phenomenal job. Shout out to 351 Studios. And man, it just took off.
Yeah.
And so shortly after that, we realized that there's people that want to hear a message different. And so then we got on a journey. We really put, pen to paper, and started bringing in other producers to start producing this album called Code Switch. And so, here we fast forward to 2022. We dropped our single Deuces at the top of the year. We dropped R&R, and then we dropped Say Less, and of course now at the fourth quarter of this year we're dropping Body of Work.
Okay, so what can you tell us about Body of Work? Like, what's the inspiration behind this one?
So Body of Work, I think the inspiration around it. First off, true story. My homie Wax called me up, say, "Yo, TEF. I got this dope idea. You got this heavy, raspy voice, right?" And so he hits me up and he says, "Yo, I think you should drop a joint called Body of Work, and you should talk about, all the aspects that you go through to create a song. A lot of people are just putting words together and rhyming. It would be dope if you could take people through a journey of who TEF is and display that in a body of work. And I want you to do it in one verse." And I was like, "All right, dog.
It's quite a challenge."
"I want you to do that in one verse." I say, "Okay, bro. Yeah, we're gonna find a feature. We're gonna get a feature for you." And so we got on this journey, and at the time, man, we were in the process of trying to negotiate with J. Cole's camp to do a verse on it. Things didn't work out with J. Cole, but I'm definitely hopeful that in the near future we can make that work. But Body of Work is really like the song Breathes to Life. It's really around breathing. I wake up breathing. I gotta eat, right? I gotta sleep, and then I'm on repeat. So every day of my life, I think about how best to put a message together, to reach people, and how do I articulate my experiences in life that's a meaningful way that can impact someone in a meaningful way. So Body of Work is just that, and we're really excited about the release, man.
That sounds dope. Did you already shoot a music video for it yet?
We did, man. We did. The video, we'll be releasing the video on October the 14th.
Okay.
Shot the video in LA, Cassandra Isbell. Shout out to Cassandra. She did a phenomenal job with the video. A lot of the scenes are from the different studios. Me being bi-coastal, I got scenes from Maximus Studios. I've got scenes from Melrose, Maximus Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to Ira Parker and Kill Switch, my engineers there. And then in Melrose Sound Recordings in LA, shout out to JP and the whole team at Melrose Sound Studios. I've recorded some songs in Cyber Sound, so shout out to Cyber Sound as well. And I can't remember if I've got Vibe Music Productions in the video or not, but shout out to Lobo Boogie and OG in Jacksonville, Florida. And all the producers, of course, a shout out to my producers, Mac Tracks, Marco Solo, Brains, DJ Payne one. Shout out to you fellas. We put together a banger.
Yeah, sound like you got it loaded up, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what can you tell us about the song "Say Less" that you put out recently?
Yeah, so Say Less, you know, it is what it is, man. I mean, so Say Less, when we sat down, Mac Tracks did the track for Say Less, and the Say Less video did by Jay Betts from Go Getter Visions, and we filmed that in, I think, Palm Springs. But Say Less, the song really is the journey of TEF. And just like I just mentioned, you know, it's this youth that was in middle school and had these turn of events in his life, and he realized that, you know, all the people around him were either they were going to jail or they were being shot and killed. And so Say Less was TEF's epiphany that, you know what, I'm going to be one of those dudes unless I change the way that I look at my life and I start doing things different. And while a lot of people can talk about making a change, I'm gonna do that change. So say less, let's get to it. And so Say Less, it takes you through the growth of this individual. And in the video, the irony of it is karma coming back, and you've got a detective that comes to the house. TEF is living this immaculate life, and the detective comes to the house, and he's got inquiries around time way back, and there was a murder that TEF was potentially involved in. And so we take you through that scenario, and you know, and how TEF handles that. Yeah. Yeah.
Now the video was really dope. I like the concept you put in.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. Yeah. We really had a ball putting that together. Man, I think we laughed more than we shot the video. It took way too long because we were just having a great time. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I think people watching this interview will be surprised you did a song with Spinabenz.
I did.
Talk about that experience.
Spin. So, again, my executive producer, Wax, you know, being that we're all from Jacksonville, Florida, what we said to ourselves, it'd be great if we're going to have features, it's definitely got to be people that are from Jacksonville and from the small circle. So Spins and I connected through a mutual friend. And I hit up Brains for the production, and what we said is it'd be great is, you know, just like we're sitting on this porch, you know, me and Spins, we approach the conversation around being in the streets and rising from the streets from two different angles, from his generation and from my generation. And so I'm an OG talking to Spins around, you know, the growth and the journey I had, and Spins he's right back at me. You know, he's like, yeah, that's cool, but here's what, you know, here's my experience from the streets. And then I have R&B artist Jay Harris on there that puts a soulful spin on the whole track. And man, I tell you, I couldn't be more impressed with the uptake and people's appreciation for the music. So yeah. Big ups to Spins, man.
Yeah, it turned out really dope too. I like that song, man.
Yeah, thank you, boss. Yeah. So
now that you're really stepping into the music, do you have some goals set for yourself, whether they're short term or long term for your music career?
You know, so goals is that's my life, and so I'm glad to say that we're on track. My goal this year was to drop four singles and then drop the album before the wrap of 2022, okay. Master number, and so Code Switch Volume 1 will be dropping in the beginning of December, and of course we're dropping B.O.W. from a single from the album. And goal-wise for 2023, we've got a series of shows lined up, as well as we've got the Interquel, which is an EP1 being dropped in the first quarter of 2023, and then we've got the Code Switch Volume 2 being dropped in the second quarter of 2023. Then we've got an Interquel EP2 being dropped in the third quarter of 2023, and then Code Switch 3 this time next. Wow. So goal-wise, you know, got a runway in front of us. Got a lot of work that we put in, body of work, if you will, and man, we're excited.
Well, you got a lot on your plate.
yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I think one of the things about putting out music is being consistent with it. you know.
Absolutely,
and the way that we've done this trilogy is there's a story, and so it's just like when you're watching a series on Netflix or Prime or whatever, you know, whatever your streaming service is. One of the things, my pet peeve is I have to watch these series or watch one episode every week, right? So we decided to put together a whole body of work, and then we decide when we release those phases of that work over a period of time, being an independent artist. So that's TEF Project, and of course EMG is the company, and we've got a lineup of other artists. My homie Wax has a project coming out as well, so we've got some other things in the pipeline as well.
Okay, that's dope, man.
Yep.
What's some advice you would share to some people in the streets that are looking for a way out but don't know how to get out?
Best advice is put one foot in front of the other one. You know, everybody's circumstances is different, so I won't sit here and profess to have the answer for anybody. But what I say is, you know, say less, stop talking about it, and start walking towards your destiny. And the best way you do that is surround yourself with the people that have the same intentions you have in mind. And it's okay if they don't. You just have to appreciate that, you know, there's a season and a reason for everyone in your life, and be able to walk away from that.
Yeah.
And appreciate that. I think a lot of times we walk around with these vices. So-and-so wasn't with me on my journey. Well, you know what? They were a part of your journey, but it's your journey. And so my advice for anyone is, you know, seize your moment, seize your journey, and start walking, man.
Yeah. Well, those wise words right there, man.
Yeah.
All right, Taff, you got any more shout outs you like to give before we wrap it up here, man?
Man, I say shout out to my marketing team. Really appreciate all of the hard work that they put into the promotion of a body of work and our upcoming album, Code Switch Volume 1. Shout out to my executive producer, Wax. Shout out to all my producers, DJ Payne 1, Mac Tracks, Marco Solo, Brains on the beats. Shout out to all the studios that I've worked with, JP at Melrose. Shout out to Ira Parker and Kill Switch from Maximus Music. Shout out to Cyber Sound, like I mentioned. Shout out to B.O.W Music Productions in Jacksonville, Florida. Lobo, definitely, man, I'm looking forward to us doing that live album, Code Switch Volume 2. Shout out to OG, the engineer, and B.O.W Music Productions. Man, there's just a host, there's a lot of people that have been on the journey with me, so it's too many to name, but I just want to say thank you.
Money on my mind. Every day I grind for a life I define. Move like ghosts, float like smoke.